In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 reasons that I've decided to leave Thailand. I've lived here for 2 years as an expat, but I've grown increasingly frustrated over a longer period of time, and I've finally bitten the bullet and I've made the decision to move. In this video, I'm going to share exactly why. Now, this is more of a personal update, so thanks to everyone for your recent feedback on my last video. So I'm going to share a little bit more of what's going on in my life. I really appreciate the support. So let's get to it. So the first reason that I'm leaving Thailand is the lack of intellectual curiosity in the culture. I think this comes from an education system where people are taught to obey orders. They're not encouraged to think critically about things, to question why things are the way that they are. And I've spoken to many different people that have told me about their experience in the education system. And this does seem to be very pervasive across most of Thailand. People are encouraged to obey. And it doesn't just exist in the education system. I believe it also exists in the culture of parental upbringing, where in general, the parents know best. The parents have a lot of authority over the lives of their children, the direction that the children head in, the ways in which they follow their passions or interests in life. But it extends into adulthood as well, right up until the point at which someone gets married. And even after that point, I think it still extends where the parent plays a really strong role. And I think that's a reflection of the role of authority, where people aren't so much taking ownership over their own life, but are more deferring to people around them for their own decisions. It has an impact in the way that people behave, in the kinds of conversations that you can have when you meet up with people. It has an impact in relationships and dating. It's very much a live the moment culture and accept things just the way they are. Now, there's wonderful qualities about this kind of culture, and in Thailand, people are really relaxed, very chilled out, very much enjoy that moment, and they're very good at unwinding. And for someone like me, there's really good things about that. I need a bit more of that in my life, and I can certainly appreciate it. But over the last couple of years, I've done my best to embrace it, and I realized that it's not satisfying me so much to be always around this culture. I'm really wanting to inquire more, to explore more. The second reason is the slow pace of life, and it's related to the first, where everything really moves slowly. Thai people move slowly, like things the way that they are, and that really is a chilled way to live. I'm currently in Chiang Mai at the moment, and it's a beautiful place. There's many expats that come here, particularly digital nomads, and it's just a great lifestyle. There's a lot of cafes, a lot of people to meet. People are super nice, super friendly, a lot of nature experiences. In fact, it's got some of the best coffee around. I absolutely love it for all of that. So I've had a really good time being here. I've been based in Chiang Mai for quite some time now. But over time, I've realized that I've missed that stimulus that comes from being in a frenetic pace of a big city. I've missed having lots of interesting people around that are doing great things with their lives, where you really feel like you can learn from their experience, when you can be inspired by what someone's doing with their life. This is just a personal preference in terms of what I'm gravitating towards, because of course we can be inspired by people from all walks of life. But this is just what I've arrived at. The third reason is around the exclusion of foreigners from the system here. So many people watching this video may not know so much about Thailand, and it's a very interesting country with the way that they treat foreigners. There's a dual pricing system in many different places, particularly government places like national parks, where you've got a certain set of pricing for Thai people and a different set of pricing for foreign people. It's the same when you go into many cafes or whatever places of service, gyms, and so on, where a foreigner needs to pay often 5 or 10 times more than the local Thai person. Personally, I'm not super frustrated with the dual pricing system. I think that for many tourists, it's a way to contribute to the society. It's something like a tourist tax that gets the money spreading around. The problem for me is when you live here for a period of time and you start to look into building a life here where you want to contribute to what's going on and be part of the society. At a personal level, I've started to look into land ownership. I've got some what I think are interesting ideas around buying land and building some off-grid structures and setups, and looking into certain systems of farming like permaculture and regenerative agriculture. And it's a bit of a passion at the moment. It's going to be a side project. And then I come up against the reality in Thailand that I'm not allowed to buy land as a foreigner. And that even includes me as a foreigner. If I lived here for more than the 2 years and I've been a tax-paying citizen here for a very long period of time, I'm still not allowed to buy that land as a foreigner. The methods at my disposal are to either marry a local Thai person, and then it can all be done under her name, or I can incorporate a company that's controlled by a local director, and I can then still manage to get it done. But there's a lot of roadblocks around really getting connected to this society, around being part of it. And just at this stage of life where I'm looking at putting together a number of different projects to further some of my own passions in life, I realize that Thailand, it's just not the most welcoming place for me. I'm on the rooftop of the hotel I'm staying at, Hotel Yayi in Chiang Mai. It's my favorite bar around. It was raining furiously. I was going to take you to a local waterfall for this video that I really wanted to show you, but the weather's preventing it. So it's a little bit windy right now. This is the best that I could do, but cheers. The fourth reason's a little harder to explain, and it's around what I'm calling entitled expats. So after being here for a little while, I've noticed that, and this is a big generalization, there are many different kinds of expats out there, but I've noticed it enough for it to frustrate me over a period of time. And that is that there are many expats that come here that are really looking down on Thai culture, that it's almost like a new form of colonialism, where they feel like their role is to critique what's going on, to try to inspire the Thais to be better at the way they're living their lives. They assume that where they're coming from with those legal systems and human rights and everything else is much better than what's going on here. And I know it may seem like a paradox that I say that after my critique, but everything I'm sharing with you isn't with the intention to come in here to Thailand as an outsider and to tell the Thai people how they need to conduct their affairs. I think that Thailand's an interesting country because they've got a very clear sense of identity here. There hasn't been very much in the way of colonization, of outside influences coming in. There's been a lot of internal imperialism with certain parts of Thailand taking over the other. And it's not a homogenous country. There's many different cultural groups and many different languages here. But certainly, at least the Thai people that I speak to, there's a real Thai culture. People know who they are and they're proud of being Thai. And I think that's really wonderful. So everything I'm sharing in this critique relates to my own personal experience. This is a personal update about my decision why it's just not working for me. And I think that the opposite of that as an expat is to come in and to set down your roots and to create this as a home and to constantly critique others for things just not being good enough, for constantly being frustrated. So I guess on the one hand, you've got this really strong Thai culture and identity, and then you've got the expats that are coming in and are trying to make this home. And I've certainly been in this camp here, and I've felt myself wanting to be part of this, to be part of the society, to try to contribute in some way. That's just where I'm at in life. And I didn't want to be one of those expats that are coming in here and are frustrated all the time and are trying to improve things around me without really being part of it, without that role really being welcomed by others. So I didn't want to be one of those entitled expats that thinks they know what's best for everyone around them. The fifth frustration I've got is a lack of connection that I feel with the people around me. I feel like people in Thailand are living their lives to please other people, to fit in with the expectations of others. Conformity is bred in the education system from a very young age, in the way parents raise their children, in the role of religion here, in respecting your elders. And I just feel like the people that I meet have been conditioned at a general level to try to fit in with others. And it's just not so inspiring to be around. Personally, I want to meet people where you really learn what makes them tick, where they've got a strong sense of who they are, of the life they're living, where they feel like they're carving something out to some extent. In general, I feel like the connections I've made have been quite surface level. Now, I'm very lucky for all of the self-development work that I've done over a long period of time. None of this has resulted in me feeling overcome by the pain of loneliness. I experience loneliness here, but I'm very comfortable in my own company. And I'm also very comfortable to make my own decisions for my life, to take ownership of what's going on. So I've made the decision to move to Singapore. But I really do want to emphasize that I don't mean this as a criticism of anyone in Thailand. I love the people that I've met. I've met wonderful people. And there are certainly individuals here that I've met that do display a lot of intellectual curiosity, that have learned how to live their own life, that take ownership of what's going on. But at a very general level, I've noticed these trends. I've noticed the frustration really building up inside me. And for about 6 months now, I've been trying to figure out what to do next, on how to address what's going on in Thailand. I did a lot of research around land ownership, buying condos, where to live in Thailand, how to navigate this world. I've got good reasons for being here. My brother's lived here for many years. My other brother lives in Vietnam. Being in this region is really important to me. But I just ended up coming up against this reality that I was experiencing, and I had to make this decision to leave. So I've decided to move to Singapore, and I'm a little nervous for sharing all of this on this video. I haven't shared personal stuff so much, but I'm encouraged by the comments to the previous videos, and I really appreciate that. My reasons for moving to Singapore: firstly, I'm a nomad. I love moving around. I love traveling to different places, but I feel very strongly that I need more structure, more of a base location. And Singapore, I think, works really well as a hub location for a nomad. It's very easy for me to get to Vietnam to visit my brother and his wife there, as well as some local team members that we've got. My other brother's in Thailand. He'll be staying in Thailand, very easy to get there. And my parents have just purchased a holiday home in Cairns in far north Australia. And it's only 6 hours and 40 minutes to fly direct from Singapore to Cairns. And I think that that's going to be a really nice thing. I'll be able to visit them a little more regularly. So it's a great location, and it's going to serve me to really move around really well. Now, there are many challenges in Singapore in terms of the local system there, but I feel like culturally it's going to be a really good home. It's an English-speaking country. I've been spending time in Singapore over the last couple of months, and I've just loved my time there. I've met so many interesting people. I've had great conversations from a very limited period there, that it gives me a lot of hope for what it can be in my life. The final reason for moving to Singapore is around my love life. So I shared a video recently where I was contemplating being single versus being in a relationship. I've been single for a very long time now. I've grown to love the single life. I love the freedom that comes with it. But I feel like I'm reaching a stage where I've become very comfortable in that freedom. I know how to live on my own, to love myself, to do all of those great things. And I feel like life is getting to a point where I'd get a lot of satisfaction and meaning out of sharing it with someone. And for the reasons I've described in this video, I just feel like being in Thailand, decreasing the chances of meeting someone where I'm going to have that really deep connection. So I felt like I need to create a change for a while now, and I'm going to move to Singapore. I'm not moving there with the intention of changing anything in my love life. I'm really happy being single, but I do want to change things up a little bit, to change my environment and just to see what that may bring into my life. And I'll be happy to share those personal updates through these videos if that's what people want to hear about. So let me know in the comments what you want to hear from me about in these videos. Share your experiences in Thailand if you've been here. I'd love to know what you think of Singapore if you've spent any time there. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.